Hey, have you ever known a leader in this world where you were like, wow, I really, really align with their principles and their values, and I would love to meet them and just, it's one of those questions of having dinner with this person. Well, this week on LizTV, I'm going to actually reveal to you how somebody like that came into my life and has now become a really dear friend. And I would never, ever have guessed that to be the case, but I'm so grateful. So join me this week on LizTV. I have always been a huge Michael Franti fan, and if you don't know his music, please look it up. He's an amazing musician. Michael Franti and Spearhead, all of them are amazing human beings. And every time I would go to one of Michael's concerts, I would get so invigorated with life and so passionate, inspired that we can all come together and make this world a better place. He was one of the biggest motivators for me because through his lyrics and languaging in his songs, you just felt better about life, that we could all come together and change the world and make it a better place. So he's always been somebody that I've admired and looked up to. Then fast forward, over the years I've gone to lots of his shows and like I said, just been very influenced by his words and the way he's chosen to show up as a human. So then I was going through a divorce several years ago, and I chose to go to Bali for 3 weeks. And partially I did that because I was testing myself. I wanted to make sure travel is one of my biggest passions. And I wanted to make sure that I felt comfortable enough traveling as far away as I could possibly think to travel by myself and not relying on anyone else to fulfill that passion and desire for me, because my dreams are made of travel, and so I really wanted to make sure that I could do that. So I picked a place. I decided Bali would be it because, one, I felt like it would be a loving, compassionate environment, and I also felt like it was really far away, and that terrified me on some level. So off I went for 3 weeks to Bali. And while I was there, I was actually staying at Soulshine, which is Michael Franti's retreat there, and it's become kind of a yoga retreat. And so I got there and they had put me into a dormitory style room where it was a beautiful room, but it was a shared bathroom, and it just felt like I was in the midst of a lot of people, and my energy was such that I really wanted to just go inside and be quiet and mend my heart and try to figure out where I even was in the world. I felt pretty lost. And so I actually asked the beautiful staff there, it's amazing, and I went up to them in the main house. There's this gorgeous Balinese house that Michael built, and there's 5 bedrooms in the main house. And so I went in and said, I would really love to stay in the main house. And they said, well, unfortunately it's sold out. And I said, well, could I take a tour of the house? Because I love the architecture. I thought it was gorgeous. And so as we're going through, they take me into this room that literally is these gorgeous bay windows looking out to the rice fields, just super powerful. And I walked into this room and it was like the walls were electrified. It was this massive vibration going on in the walls. And I was so drawn to the energy of this room that I said, what is this room? And they said, well, this is Michael's recording studio. Or it was kind of being in transition. And there was a futon in this room, and it was actually beautiful, only the way that Balinese futons would look, right? It was gorgeous. And so I said, well, can I stay here? And they said, well, no, we don't rent this room. And I said, well, this is my story. I'm mending my heart. I've just gone through a divorce. I'm trying to find myself again. And really my intention here is to do just that, is to really tap in and hone in on who I am again and try to ground myself in that knowing and reconnect with myself and heal and mend my heart. And so is it possible to maybe check to see if this is available for me to stay? And they were like, well, there's no bathroom. I said, I'll use the bathroom in the yoga studio. Anyway, on and on. Finally, they said, you know what, crazy lady, we'll call Michael Franti in the States and we'll see if he's okay with it. And again, they were transitioning this room into a bedroom at the time. So off they went. They made a call to the US. And I'm sure Michael on the other end of the call was like, oh my gosh, who is this crazy person? But he said yes. And so there I went and stayed for the next 5 days in what was Michael Franti's recording studio in his Balinese house. And I can honestly tell you that I believe that is a huge part of how I was able to heal my heart so quickly. I felt the power of his intention and inspiration in his music, and I felt just music overall. It was so incredibly healing. So that was an incredible experience, and I felt so grateful, and I felt so connected. Like this was Michael Franti always felt like kind of a distant brother that, at some lifetime maybe we were together. But anyway, so I left Bali feeling so fired up and so empowered and alive again. And I came back, and now fast forward about 6 months later, I was dating my now husband, and he's an orthopedic surgeon in Colorado. And he called me from work one day and said, "You're never gonna believe this." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Guess who's coming in to see me?" And turns out that Michael Franti had hurt his knee dancing, I'm sure, as he's jumping. Everyone's encouraging everyone else to jump at his concerts. So he had hurt his knee and needed to come see Bill. And so I was like, "Oh my gosh, I would love to come meet him. Can I be your nurse? What can I do?" And he said, "Actually, better yet, we're gonna have dinner with him tonight." And so all of a sudden, this person that was in the distant background of my life now shifted into this opportunity where I was gonna get the chance to really connect and meet him. And so his band and his beautiful fiance at the time, Sarah, we all went to dinner with some other friends of ours. And I just felt like it was this fairy tale come true on a lot of levels because of the connection I had already. I felt connected to Michael because I stayed in his recording studio in Bali. But then before that, even just the deep love of his music and his messaging and his music. And so here I sat at dinner just in awe of how life works, right? How people can ebb and flow into your life and show up as something different, that they can become these symbolic people in your life. And so the story goes that it went on to now, Sarah and Michael are dear, dear friends of ours. We went to their wedding. They came to ours. And it just has been this really huge, unexpected gift that, you kind of pinch yourself when you're backstage at Red Rocks or when you're having them play guitar in your home, that we're all human. And that's what Michael reminds us, is to stay human and to practice that humanness and to look at each other as just that, simple humans, And if we can do that, we can get our head around that, the world is a much, much sweeter place. So this week, I wanted to share that story with you because I feel like it's a remarkable reminder of how people show up in our lives, just that they give us. So if you have somebody that you're dying to meet, put it out there, put that intention out there. You never know how they may show up in your life. And if there isn't such a person, maybe come up with somebody. I think it's phenomenal when we can, have that conversation at dinner of, if you could have dinner with any one person in the world, who would it be, So keep those conversations going. You never know when the influence of someone that you admire will slowly trickle into your life in a much more dramatic fashion. So I leave you with that this week. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful week. Stay human, and I will see you next week.